voices. We are told that everybody has a voice, but what are we actually saying? Some people may think that when we talk about voices, it's only about the audible and what the sound bites are saying. But the truth of the matter is that before ever we open our mouths to speak, we have already spoken. By the time we meet and converse, we have already spoken to each other in an older and more universal language. And that language is the language of nonverbal communication. We speak volumes through our appearance, and our impression says everything. So by the time you walk into a room, without having said a word, your subconscious mind has already made judgments about the person, about his or her capabilities, or otherwise. It's often said that you cannot judge a book by its cover, but I dare say, you can. We speak to one another by the way we appear. Even our choice of colors speak. And if there's one thing that I've learned from the late Margaret Thatcher, is that anywhere she was called upon to speak, she always ensured that she knew what the background, the colors of her background. Because she, as a woman, said that she needed to stand out, but at the same time complement her background. So our choice of colors matter. And then, of course, our clothes. Are they appropriate? I know as women we like to embellish, and rightly so. But everything, I dare say, has its place. So what we wear and where do we wear it to speaks volumes. So if I go into we talk about women having a seat at the table. So imagine me going to a boardroom with glitter and glam. What message am I sending? Do I look like somebody who's serious? Or is it just a matter of showing off? We speak through our posture, the way we carry ourselves. Yes, over time, women have suffered all kinds of things. And sometimes we do think that maybe we are the weaker sex or the lesser mortals or whatever. But as women, please do hold your head high. Let your chin be parallel to the ground. Square your shoulders, drop them, and ensure that you have a posture that is ready for business and ready for success. You do not strike a pose of being a successful woman with drooping shoulders or slouching or maybe dragging your feet along the ground. So posture is key, as are your facial expressions. A lot is deduced from how a woman looks. Have you ever made eye contact with somebody across the room, perhaps accidentally, and then you quickly look away? I challenge you that next time, hold that eye contact and smile. Gives a completely different impression of a woman who is confident and ready to engage. Our elegance says it all. Never ever follow fads or fashion. Know what suits you and leverage on that. If you go out in any day and you harvest some compliments, just know that that is a color that goes well with you. So invest in that color and look at the different hues of that color, because what goes well with you might not be what goes well with another person. So the wrongest thing when we are talking about voices and when we talk about speaking accurately, efficiently, is getting our colors right and getting our clothing right. Elegance is always a pleasant thing to behold. And then, of course, it is also our personal style. So it doesn't mean that we are like soldiers in uniforms and everybody's wearing the same thing. But actually, do you know that is what we do most of the time? Because we follow fashion fads. When I go to meet my tailor, she says, this is what is in vogue now. I don't care what is in vogue now. What I care about is what suits me and how I can give out a positive impression. You never get a second chance to create a first impression. First impressions are key, and it is important that we get it right. Experts say that we have only 7 to 15 seconds to create a first impression. So what goes into the first 7 to 15 seconds in order for you to get noticed, and not only noticed, but noticed in a positive way, and also what will open doors for you. The wow effect. When we talk about poise, it's all about balance. Have you ever seen somebody on a tightrope, walking on a rope, maybe from across a height, from one end to another, and the person is focused and balances? There is no safety net at the bottom. So the person has to get across on that rope, balancing. If not, he or she will fall off. And that's what it means for us to have the right voice and speak in the right tone. We have to get the balance right. So with all the things that we want to say that goes into being a woman, with all the things that we say that goes into the exploits, with all our education and everything, we have to get the balance right between our brain, our appearance, our poise, and our elegance. And that wow effect should be visible anytime we are seen in public. Because lo and behold, we are on stage. You never know who is watching. So you can never afford to have a bad hair day. Because on that particular day, it might have been your make or break moment to your next level. Your image speaks, obviously. And we all like looking at pleasant things. When we see flowers, we look at them and smile. Because they look nice, they look pretty. In order for us to speak or to have a voice as women, we do not have to lose our femininity. On the contrary, we should project it, but in a positive way, in such a way that will show that I am here, I'm worthy of respect, and I'm worthy of a seat at the table. So in those first 7 to 15 seconds of creating the first impression, we have what we call the rule of 12. What is the rule of 12? It's about the first 12 steps. Your gait. When you walk into a room, we talk about making an entrance. But making an entrance is not about, ta-da! Here I am. Rather, it is about the way you stride into the room with dignity and poise that will make people turn their heads again and say, who's that? Without having opened your mouth. So the first 12 steps, make them powerful and purposeful. When you enter a room, have a focal point, maybe a chair, and stride to that chair as a woman with a mission. Next, you have the first 12 words. The first 12 words now comes the audible voice. What do you say? And the balance begins to come into play. Do your words balance what you're wearing? Are you wearing a very elegant dress, but maybe the grammar is wrong? Are you wearing beautiful, should I say, a Louis Vuitton or a designer outfit, but lo and behold, you're speaking in jargons? The first 12 words ensure you introduce yourself correctly, you greet properly, and you launch into your conversation. Next is the first 12 inches, which is from the top of your head to your neck. When you speak to somebody, the person looks at you, and immediately they can see whether you are well-groomed, whether you've just eaten stew and part of it is on your blouse, whether you have remnants of your last meal between your teeth, whether you are sloppy, whether you are a careful person. The first 12 inches gives it all away. And last but not the least are the last 12 inches, which is from your ankles to your toes. Your footwear is very important. Do you know that a lot can be deduced from the shoes you wear? Much more than you would ever realize. So make sure that your shoes do not laugh, that your shoes are coordinated, and that they match your entire outfit. So they shouldn't be too loud, they shouldn't be too casual, because everything speaks. And remember, we are still on the tightrope, trying to keep our balance and trying to keep that wow effect. So walking correctly. So your posture is to keep your head up, as I said earlier on, and you have to keep our chin parallel to the ground. And it's also important that we lengthen our back, so always walk as if there is a weight at the back of your neck, which is pulling you up. So you walk, so your spine is lengthened, and you walk with a more purposeful stride. And keep your shoulders down and back, because already it gives you an impression of being ready for success. You look like you are in authority. And swing your arms slightly. So because we're not robots, we're human beings. So please let your movements be fluid and purposeful. And it's important for us to ensure that we step from heel to toe when we are walking. So we don't walk, some ladies walk on their toes, but when we are walking, it should be a purposeful stride from heel to toe. There's a very famous quote by Christian Louboutin. He says that shoes transform your body language and attitude. They lift you physically and emotionally. So there's a lot that the right footwear can do for you. The art of conversation. Now, again, as we are conversing, we look right and we must speak right. Listen more than you talk. That too is communication. And that too is your voice. And it's important that we come to an occasion prepared. So many people don't know how to start a conversation when we are coming into a place. What do we speak about? There are some topics that are obviously to be avoided because we don't want to ruffle feathers. But you can speak about the weather. You can speak about the film. And make sure, for example, you're coming to any occasion at all. Can you just Google a little bit about the occasion so you can launch into intelligent conversation? And then tailor your conversation to the listener. Don't just go on and on about yourself. And as a matter of fact, just speaking about yourself all the time is a put-off. So talk about the occasion, talk about the environment, talk about whatever it is, and see what the listener is interested in. And take your turn. Let everybody speak one after the other, and think before you speak. Very often when we just blurt out something, or we blurt the way we feel, as women, we are emotional beings, but it is not always advisable to let our emotions out. So think before you speak. So let that balance exist. Don't interrupt, even when you're speaking with somebody who has a speech defect or a stammerer, and you know what the person wants to say. Don't go ahead and finish the sentence for the person. It is considered impolite. And then don't talk only about the person, don't talk only to one person in the group. So if you are with a group of people, make sure you speak to each person in turn. Don't just focus on one person only. And here we have what every woman is so much concerned about, our handbags. What do we do about handbags and why are they so important? Why can't we just use a polythene bag to put our things in? What are handbags actually for? It's to carry our belongings. But how we carry them and why we carry them is also key. A handbag is part of a lady's dressing. So anytime you choose an outfit, you choose a bag to go with that outfit. Therefore, a lady and her handbag should never be separated. Very often we go to occasions and we see ushers, they make a beeline for your handbag when they want to help you to the stage or to the podium. Please do not give your handbag to anybody. You must carry the handbag by yourself because it is part of your dressing. If you want to give your handbag to somebody to carry, you might as well take off your shirt or your skirt and also give it to the person because it's as personal to you as that. Avoid large handbag at formal functions. They just look incongruous. It doesn't fit. So if you're at a formal function, the smaller the handbag, the better. That's why we have clutch purses. And when you are at a dining event, especially, use handbag hangers. They're more elegant rather than putting your handbag on the chair where which is supposed to be reserved for another person. Or sometimes we don't like to put our bags on the floor. So handbag hangers are available. If you're at the cocktail or the function, you carry your handbag in your left hand to leave your right hand free for exchanging business cards, shaking hands, or even holding a cocktail glass. So the way we carry our bags, you don't have to now fumble by changing the way the handbag from one hand to the other. Just elegantly keep it in your left hand and you're good to go. And of course, you can imagine if you had been using a large handbag, it just wouldn't go at the function. We have our famous pie chart of effective communication. What does it all include? That 55% is actually our body language. What are we saying? With our bodies, with our expressions, our 38% our gestures, and it's only 7% that is actually the words that we speak. So when we speak about voices, it's important to get it right. 55% of another person's perception of you is based on how you look. And 75% of recruiters believe that the way a person dresses for work affects his job, salary, and possible promotions. So it is that key and it is that important to get it right. So losing balance, obviously, is dangerous. Always see yourself on a tightrope and know that you have to balance everything: your intellect, your dressing, and your personal style. Your poise is your voice. Therefore, speak. Thank you.